For 6 years on this show, we've talked about truancy and what you and the kids can do to make sure you don't go on the wrong path. But we have not talked about the laws in this state, the state of Texas. And that's where this video came into play through my suggestions. Meaning from recommendations of videos. I had played you a clip from Alyssa Buchanan, the family court judge in Horry County, and she's right about everything. Now let's go to Allen ISD, where John Payton, the judge from 2015, weighs in as he talks about truant conduct. Take a look.
Truant conduct is defined as a child engaging in truant conduct is required to attend school under Section 25.085 of the Education Code and fails to attend school on 10 or more days or parts of days within a 6-month period in the same school year. Truant conduct may be prosecuted only as a civil case in truancy court. Now, interestingly enough, this is still a charge. The allegation is truant conduct. The charge is truant conduct. You will not be entering a plea of guilty, not guilty, or no contest. You will now, if the prosecutor, the state prosecutor that prosecutes criminal cases, finds that the evidence that they have been given by the school district is sufficient, shall file a petition creating the allegations against you called truant conduct. When that petition is filed, that's when the entire process of the adjudication hearing begins. Prior to the adjudication hearing, the school district must enter into truancy prevention measures. Now, the law doesn't say that they have to enter truancy prevention measures if you're going to be uncooperative or if you're not going to show up for your meetings or your hearings. They have to make a good faith effort to make sure that they have tried to implement truancy prevention measures to prevent you from having to come to truancy court, which, by the way, is something that I have preached for 25 years of being on the bench. That's why we provide videos like this, educational videos, to hopefully educate and inform so that you'll make good decisions and not find yourself going into a courtroom. However, under the truancy prevention measures, these are measures that are now required on student cases. As a truancy prevention measure, under subsection A school district shall take one or more of the following actions. The majority of the school districts that I have spoken to in Collin County, and really a part of our Collin County truancy uniform policy, most school districts are electing to choose option 1. Number 1, impose a behavior improvement plan on the student that must be signed by an employee of the school that the school district has made a good faith effort to have signed by the student and the student's parent or guardian. That includes a specific description of the behavior that is required or prohibited for the student, the period for which the plan will be effective, not to exceed 45 school days after the date the contract becomes effective. And again, almost all of the school districts that I'm aware of and our Collin County Uniform Truancy Policy Committee has decided that they wish to use and elect to use the first option. So be prepared to have to come into a meeting and sign a BIP, or what I've explained to students and parents, what used to formerly be called an attendance improvement contract, which fortunately all of you who are students in Collin County have probably come across, because most of the school districts here in Collin County have used attendance contracts to help you improve your attendance and hopefully not lose credit in your classes. Don't confuse the 90% rule, where you're required to be in school 90% of the time, with truant conduct. They are not one and the same. If you make your unexcused absences or excused absences up, that is with the 90% rule granting you credit back for your classes. However, if you make up your unexcused absences or parts of days, it doesn't mean that you still haven't violated the law and could be filed on for truant conduct. It just means that you've received your credit back, especially for secondary students. So the two are mutually exclusive, although they do have a tendency to bleed over to one another. Furthermore, the age has changed. A lot of students have come in and said, well, we can drop out of school now at 17. I don't have to go to school anymore, and I'm not getting my GED. I've actually had students tell me that here in court. However, that is not the case. You are now required to go to school till your 19th birthday.
Yes.
If you are filed on and you are under court order during the duration of your 19th birthday, the court order doesn't expire because you've turned 19. You will be required under the remedial order to continue to attend school through your 19th birthday. And if you've not turned 19 before the school year starts, you will be required to attend school and begin the school year. And so those rules have changed and bumped up the age of requirement to attend school one additional year. Furthermore, now, once a case is referred to the truancy court, it is sent over to the prosecutor. The prosecutor in Collin County will review it within 7 days. If there is a holiday, or if there are other days where there are ice days or weather days, that may be extended by 2 to 3 days. However, under the Collin County Uniform Truancy Policy that we've already discussed in Collin County, every 7 days, a county or city prosecutor will review the petition or the referral made by the school district to the court. Once it's referred and looked at by the state will send it back to the court, approving it or not approving it. If the state says the petition doesn't have the required elements, then the state will dismiss it and nothing will go forward. The school district will continue its process. However, if the state says, yes, there's enough elements here to prove the petition to be filed, then they file the petition. You will receive either a certified mail return receipt requested letter summoning you to court, or you will be served by a deputy with a paper at your home place of employment, or really, it doesn't say that you can't be served at school, if that's where they can find you and finally get you served. I can tell you that from a county standpoint, sending out certified mail return receipt into the court and placed under court order as well, and be served. Let me give you an example.
So when we come back, we're going to hear that example from John Payton. Then later on, there are more brilliant stories we're going to hear from the Young Turks. Stay with us. As we start to continue on, we are focusing more on truancy because this is a big issue going on. And 6 years ago today, 6 years ago this month, the truancy laws here in Texas have now changed. And once again, here's John Payton to explain more about the truancy law that has changed. Because remember, it's a 90% rule. If you don't have 90%, you can't get credit. Here's that example.
Because this is the most common. Students turn 17. For whatever reason, police departments have told them that they can move out of their home, that they're grown, they're adults now. That is not the case. Both under Acton, which is a Supreme Court case from 1995, and under state law, a student doesn't become an adult or the age of majority until they turn 18 years of age. So if you leave your home at 17, a parent has a duty under section 151.001 of the Family Code to go out and retrieve you and bring you home.
Yes.
Feel free to review that online at www.tx.gov and look up state statutes, and you can find that statute there. Because I know students like to go and find their own proof.
And here's like, well, I can prove to you that I can move out at 17. And it's like, there, I've started research, you can move out at 17, there you go. And parents can fire back with research. Okay, well, here you go. What's this? The new law is being put in place September 1st, 2015. What? I can't move out at 17? That's right. If you're 17, and you move in with a boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, again, the parent has to be required to take you home. So that's the law.
They're great researchers. So go out and find that so you understand what the law says. So at 17, you move out of your home and move in with a boyfriend or a girlfriend and their family. If you do not have permission from your parents to do that, then you are violating the law. that person, if you have truant conduct, can then be brought into court and also be placed under a court order.
Yes.
So do understand that you are now implicating other people in this process if you have truant conduct, and
Being
they
a
can be placed
boyfriend
under
or
court order
girlfriend
as
or
well.
boyfriend, girlfriend,
That is one of the
whatever.
big changes to the law. So, we've gotten you served, the referral's been made, you show up to court. Once you show up to court,
That's all I just want to point out to you. I'm not going to go through what Judge Payne has said, but there are still more bullying. There is more bullying out there and all this week and throughout the month of October, we are focusing more on bullying. Last time we talked, we focused in with the Young Turks about bullying. And as someone who cares about bullying, who has created the Stop Bullying Speak Up group on Facebook, inspired by Cartoon Network, let me tell you, I care. So last when we left off to where a white bully gets choked by a minority and gets a lighter punishment. Now, 10 years ago, a bully attacks a gay student at a high school. Take a look at this, then we'll talk.
We've talked about bullying on this show several different times, and now there's a new case of bullying. There's a gay high school student in Ohio who was attacked by one of his classmates. We actually have a local news report from Channel 6 WSYK, or YX, I'm sorry. Let's watch that, and then we'll discuss this a little more.
The boy stood there and waited on him, and waited on him, and waited on him. And then as soon as he walks in the door, the boy hits him. Zach walks away. What did I do? Why are you doing this? And he keeps walking away. Then he turns around and tries to defend himself. And he tries to get away again. And the boy grabs a hold of him and just knocks the holy living crap out of him.
Rebecca Collins is walking us through cell phone video that was posted to Facebook. It was posted of another student ambushing her son in the classroom.
It turns my stomach.
She says this was a hate crime.
It's my son. I don't care. And they did it just because he's a homosexual.
Like, never ending, and just, I was waiting for somebody. I, like, covered myself, I shielded my body, and he just kept hitting me, and nobody did anything.
We have chosen not to reveal her son's identity, but he says this is not the first attack for his sexual orientation. He says the same student commented on a picture of his on Facebook 2 days earlier.
He said, check out the definition of a fag.
Collins says her son has a possible concussion and a chipped tooth.
Yeah, it's gross to look at. And, first of all, that kid has a massive, massive insecurity. I'm talking about the bully.
Yeah, the bully. Lucas and I were talking about that earlier, and maybe it's his way of projecting, and why do you go out of your way to be so hurtful towards someone else who's not even bothering you? By the way, so 2 days ago, they mentioned in that report, the bully had written something on the Facebook page. I'm going to read you guys what he wrote on the Facebook page, and, it's horrible. He says, check out the definition of faggot, okay? He wrote that on the Facebook page.
Referring to the kid.
Referring to the kid, and then 2 days later, he beat him up. Now...
No, can I just say, no one hates someone else that much, especially someone that hasn't done anything to him. You only hate yourself that much. You see what I'm saying? I
do see what you're saying. I totally understand. At the same time, that boy got a 3-day suspension. That was it.
That's crazy.
No, here's look, we have this debate about whether or not there should be legislation. And you know what? More and more I'm becoming more and more supportive of legislation, anti-bullying legislation, because this is BS, okay? There's video footage of that guy socking that gay student again and again, right? It's so violent and it's so horrible. There's proof of this bullying that goes on in that classroom. And that's what the administrators do? A 3-day suspension? Really?
Yeah, look, I don't think we need anti-bullying legislation. We've discussed this in the past because I'm afraid of how far it'll go and will it affect speech, etc. Now, having said that, you don't need it here. Look, any sensible administrator, we've seen them expel kids for such tiny infractions.
Accidentally bringing a plastic knife to school to cut their sandwich.
Right, like a Tweety thin knife or whatever it was, a bottle opener, and you're expelled. What happened to zero tolerance? This is like 1,000,000% tolerance. If you don't get expelled for this, and this isn't just a regular fight at school, hey, kids exchange words and then they're wrestled to the ground. No, this is an ambush. And one guy just absolutely viciously pummeling another one. If you don't get expelled for this, what do you get expelled for? I mean, what a horrible message to send out. So I don't think you need any further legislation. You just need a principle that has 2 bits of sense to them. And by the way, the other thing is, I was really lucky growing up. I had a lot of confidence, and I was a strong kid. I was relatively large, not tall, but like large, And so, and okay, keeping it real, right? And I didn't have any fear, right? But
That's enough from him. But the bottom line here is this: don't be punching someone because they're gay. Let me tell you something. I've said this before. I said this last season. Inside every bully, there is a coward. There's a coward. If you're bullying someone, you are a coward. You're a coward. You're a coward. You really are. Okay, coming. Hey, you may think I'm crazy you may think I'm stupid for saying this, but you bullies out there, you're a coward. You are a coward. Okay. Coming up next, how would you feel if your parent comes to the school board and interrupts that bullying speech? Well, when we come back, a parent interrupts a bully LGBTQ student. But first, coming up next, how would you feel as a parent if your child came home with hair on fire and you found out later that the school did nothing? Stay with us. As a parent, how would you feel if your son or daughter came home with your hair gone on fire? My hair! Like the scene of Home Alone. Oh, God. But in all seriousness, how would you feel if you're... Now, imagine as a parent, how would you feel you went to the school and they found out they didn't know anything about it? Meaning they did nothing. It's exactly what happened. Girl comes home to her parents with hair on fire, and then she goes to school, knew nothing. Take a look.
A 14-year-old by the name of Tatiana Butler in Illinois was bullied to the point where 2 8th graders set her hair on fire. Her friends notified her immediately, and fortunately she wasn't hurt as a result. But this is just another ridiculous bullying story where the administrators don't really seem to care much about what happened. Now, the parent of this girl who went to Thomas Jefferson Middle School in Illinois talked to the administrators, talked to the principal, and the principal, according to the parent, says things happen. The girls also were suspended, but the parent is planning on filing criminal charges against the girls because think about it. If these girls were adults, they would be charged with assault. Yeah. You can't light someone's hair on fire. Now, what's also interesting is after the mother complained and said you should have written a police report about this, the administrators didn't do it until the following day at 3 p.m. So the parent was complaining about this on a Tuesday, and it wasn't until Wednesday around 3 p.m. that they notified police officials and filed a report about it.
Yeah. Look, the fact also, by the way, after she confronted the girls who'd set her hair on fire, they punched her in the face.
Yeah,
There's some horrible kids here. So I'm going to play devil's advocate really quickly. Obviously, this is terrible. Like, that's my actual opinion. But we see these bullying cases come up so often, and it seems like the recurring theme generally, with some exceptions, is that teachers and principals don't do anything about it or don't do what we would consider to be appropriate and an appropriate response to it. And so I wonder, like, it's been a long time since I've spent time in elementary schools.
Let's go back to that 2020 report. Let's go back to what happened. You know, let me tell you something. Yesterday we showed you 2 days ago we showed you a clip from 2020 about 3 girls were being bullied, and the administration does nothing about it but saying, well, we can't guarantee your safety. I think it'd be best if you went home. And another person said, well, we can't keep your daughter safe, but we'll ride you homebound in school. It's like, you crazy? Something you can't do? But the board decided, okay, put 8 walkie-talkies on. That'll keep them safe. No. But I'm glad the parents went, but I'm glad that parents in the report went to the police, filed the report, there. Nothing happened. I'm glad they sued the school district.
High schools, it could be possible that there is just so much bullying constantly with so many students.
Yes.
That even something like setting someone's hair on fire, like you can't, I mean, I guess you can't expel every student. Like, I wonder, I'm not saying that's the case, but that seems to be the case. Like, we don't have any reason to believe these principals are just, they're universally evil people who don't care. Maybe they're being beaten down by how horrific kids are to each other.
I don't think that, and by the way, this isn't a generalization of all administrators and all principals. I'm talking specifically about cases like this. I think that when cases like this come up, it has nothing to do with the principal being a bad person. I think it has more to do with laziness, right? So when it comes to bullying,
it's like, what? I'm sorry I have anything happen. Get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. It's like the principal's drunk out of her mind, like had a bad day, doesn't want to deal with you. Things happen. Get out of my sight. Put that in a police report. Went to the principal. Drunk off his ass, being lazy, didn't do shit.
I think that there's a very defined line. So there's the bullying where the kids will say stuff to another student and it's hurtful, and I still consider that bullying. But then there's a line that they cross when it becomes physical and when it becomes violent.
Yes.
And she could have gotten burned. I mean, think about it. If she was wearing clothing that had flammable material, it would have been disastrous.
Hairspray or something like that, possibly. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is, they already crossed the line. I would notify police officials immediately about this. This is not the kind of behavior where you just get.
I would do that immediately. If someone caught my hair on fire, and someone behind me was filming, turn it off, inform the police immediately. I wouldn't be waiting 2 or 3 days. I'd notify them immediately, even if it means kicking down a damn police door, filling out the police report, going in their house and saying, hey, here's the report. Don't do this again, because if you do that again, I'm putting you in jail. This is ridiculous. Coming up next, what would you feel? How would you feel if a student has a speech and a parent interrupts your speech? That's what happened 10 months ago. Stay with us. 10 months ago, there was a bullying problem that happened in Massachusetts. And a parent just interrupts the student's speech. Take a look.
A high school student in Massachusetts was speaking about the bullying problem that she's experiencing at the school. This was at a school board meeting, though. But during her explanation, she was verbally attacked, interrupted by a parent that was off in, I guess, in the audience crowd somewhere. Now, she's a senior at the high school. Her name is Mackenzie Atwood, and she was talking specifically about the problem with how there's protected classes in the school: race, gender identity, sexual orientation. And as she was talking about how maybe some of those groups aren't getting the protection that they had said that they are giving to students, she was interrupted. But first, let's let her speak about what was happening at the school. Let's listen.
I think what should be known is that at the high school level, we have meetings at the beginning of every school year outlining what protected classes are in the school. What is not clear about school environment is that though everyone is said to be protected, that is not followed through. So kids every single day, and being in theater, there's obviously that stereotype that everyone in theater is gay, and yeah, you can say that it's pretty true because a lot of us are gay, and it's somewhere where we can be comfortable, and that's a safe space. But when kids are coming to theater every single day telling me, oh, I got called a in the hall today, or I got called a racial slur in the hall today, that's not something to, joke about, though it's become something that we're so numb to that it becomes a joke.
So if you heard the first part there, she's speaking out for people who have become accustomed to being called slurs.
That's
and it's become
good.
a joke.
That's
and
good.
Like,
You're speaking
everyone was
out to the
talking
board.
the other year
That's good.
About how there's protected classes, but we're not protecting everyone.
Now let's get to the part to where she gets interrupted.
Not protecting everyone. Now she went on, a parent in the audience decided to interrupt her. Let's listen to that second part.
So I think it's important to understand that, yes, everyone is protected at the school, but being someone who is Caucasian is not something that you're getting bullied about.
Keep going, please.
Being homosexual, which, may I say, I am gay. Call me what you want about that. I am being personally attacked in school about this. And it is extremely disgusting that you can look me in the eyes and say that I'm not being oppressed at the school.
Sit down. You will be asked to leave. Please sit down.
It has to stop. This is the indoctrination.
We are going to ask for a slight
There's no such thing as a gay agenda. There is no such thing as a...
It looked like she was going into say a black agenda or the rest of these agendas that these types of folks are worried are taking over our schools and our society because people exist. So as there was a couple blanks there in the audio, it's every time the woman in the audience was yelling, interrupting, and screaming because I believe the school board was trying to keep her from getting her comments out there out of turn. But part of it was also, this is the indoctrination, she screamed at this teenager who's talking about how people that she's friends with and experience
That was the
things
clip.
with.
Right. Let me tell you something. She's making a good speech, and you don't have the goddamn right to interrupt her. You can confront her when she leaves and say this and this and this and that out in the parking lot or whatever. But if you do that at the school board, at a public school board meeting, you would be asked to leave immediately. Immediately. Alright, that's enough of the bullying, but what about from Inside Edition? Because let me tell you something. If I was at a school meeting giving a good speech and someone interrupted me, I would say have her leave. Have him or her leave. Because I'm not putting up with this. We're going to be speaking one at a time here. But bullying is a hot topic in all of our schools. Now, 4 years ago, an 11-year-old says a bully threatened a shooter with an AK-47. Now we have bullies and threats combined together? Watch.
20 grams of protein and greens in every scoop. So you can put 100% into whatever you're into. Vega, keep growing.
I have been threatened to get shot in the head by an AK-47 and buried in my backyard.
Trembling and full of tears, this young girl bravely tells her school board that she's being bullied.
Bullying is a problem in our school. I am a victim of it.
11-year-old Delaney from New Hampshire wrote this speech all on her own.
She was told by her dad that she only had a few moments to speak. So she kind of wrote what she wanted to say, and then he glanced over it, and they kind of moved things around so it was cohesive. But they were her words, and they came from her.
Delaney's parents couldn't be prouder of her.
She kind of think, oh, they're just 11 years old. It's silly. They're just being boys. They're just being mean. But again, in this day and age, you have to take things like that serious.
The school board told NBC Boston that her concerns of bullying have their undivided attention. InsideEdition.com.
That's good. World of speech, good. We have time for 2 more. 4 years ago, Keaton Jones speaking out after a bullying video went viral. That was 4 years ago, so let's see what he has to say.
Video of a weeping child speaking out about being mercilessly bullied is breaking hearts across America today.
They make fun of my nose. They call me ugly. They say I have no friends.
And 11-year-old Keaton Jones is speaking out for the first time since that video went viral to WVLT-TV in Knoxville, Tennessee.
I've been bullied most of my life. It really hit drastically in 3rd grade, and it's been awful ever since then. What'd they do to you at lunch? Put milk on me and put a hand down my clothes, threw bread at me.
Keaton's poignant video was posted by his mom, Kimberly, and brought a tidal wave of love and support. Justin Bieber posted this.
We're all rooting for you and we're all cheering you on.
Katy Perry wrote, "This broke my heart today." Demi Lovato tweeted, "Keaton, baby, just know that you are not alone." The entire University of Tennessee football team has offered to eat lunch with Keaton tomorrow in the school lunchroom where he was bullied. Keaton smiled broadly, thinking about all that support, including an invitation from Captain America himself, actor Chris Evans, who invited him to next year's Avengers premiere.
I love Captain America. To know, wow, I have Captain America on my side. That is amazing.
But with a spotlight on Keaton's family, his mom is under fire for posing with a Confederate flag on social media. Her daughter Laken tweeted, "To those who think my mother is a racist, she is not. She is a Southern woman who loves where she is from. This is about bullying my brother, not her. This bullied kid remains a hero and has this message for bullied kids everywhere."
It's gonna get better. I promise that it'll get better. Why is my joy in taking innocent people and finding a way to be mean to them? It's not okay.
And it is not okay. And it's not okay for people to be picking on people. There's time for 2 more, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Well, here's the question: does dodgeball teach kids how to be bullies? Watch. I played dodgeball before, and doesn't teach. And I wasn't bullying people. Dodgeball is a game. You just hit people till they're out.
This team is going to eat them for breakfast.
Michelle Obama trash talks before a hilarious celebrity dodgeball game on the Late Late Show Monday. She led a team of USA stars, including Allison Janney, Mila Kunis, Melissa McCarthy, and Kate Hudson. They played against James Corden's team of British celebs.
When they go low, we also go low.
And when she took aim at Harry Styles,
Obama winds up and boom! Right in deep. And that's the shot heard around the world.
there was only one direction that ball was going. It was all good, knee-slapping fun. Dodgeball is one of the fastest growing sports for adults, with leagues springing up across America.
It's built a lot of confidence and courage to be at the front lines, being active in the sport.
But the way dodgeball is played in schools and summer camps is coming under fire. New research claims dodgeball teaches children to bully other kids. Now there are calls for it to be banned in middle schools.
We're asking...
So, the question is, should dodgeball be banned in all schools? If it's teaching kids to be bullied, to bully others, absolutely it should. You really shouldn't be, dodgeball shouldn't be a way to teach people to bully others. That should never have happened. It should never happen. It never should happen. You don't use dodgeball as a way to teach kids how to bully others. I'm going to tell you something. I played dodgeball, and did I bully others? Absolutely not. I realized that it's just a game. If you say, oh, I hate this kid when we play dodgeball, I'm going to hit him. Or I hate her when I play dodgeball, I'm going to hit her. It's a game that people play. It's a game. Now, like I said, all this week we are talking about bullying, and throughout October, we're also going to talk about bullying. So, on Give Me Back Friday, School Bullies from Judge Mathis, you're going to hear from 2 kids, from the victim who says he has been bullied. 2 kids who have been bullied, or one of them was bullied, or one of them was bullying the other kid. I'm not sure. I remember watching a clip, but Brandon watching, we're also going to watch that. And then, 4 years ago, a 10-year-old refuses to fight the bullies because it's not the Jedi. Also, a bully gets a sweet surprise at a new high school. Then, a man confronts superintendent claiming that he was bullied. An adult male. That's all this week. That's tomorrow and all this week and all October talking about bullying. That's all for this edition of Give Me Break Wednesday. We'll see you again for Give Me Break Friday. And as always, I'm reminding you right now, to help stand up to bullying, have your kids stand up and say no. Goodbye, everybody.